You want to get ready to get going?
Sure. Yeah, we can do that.
All right. I'll give it a little pause and I'll start. How's it going, everybody? This is Michael Diamond here with Chris Miller. If you're watching this on Muscle Central, make sure you go to Chris Miller's channel, Buffy the Iron Slayer, and check out all his content. If you're watching this on Buffy the Iron Slayer, come over here to Muscle Central and check out my content and make sure you subscribe to both channels. What's up, Chris? How's everything? How's everything?
It's going pretty good. Yeah, I just finished laying down some tile in the bathroom yesterday, and today after this, I'm gonna grout, lay down the grout. And so, as far as house projects go, I'm finally wrapping something up I've been working on for a while. So, pretty happy about that. I think you lost you, Michael. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I got you back. Okay, I just started giving a little bullshit over here to the people. All right, now what was I in the process of saying before I lost you?
You asked me how everything was going. I just said everything's great because I'm finishing up my bathroom project finally.
Okay. That's right. So, how much longer you got for the project?
I just gotta lay grout down today after this and let that settle and dry. Sealer, toilet, some more paint, and it's done. So
Hey, did you see Rami's apology?
no, I have not seen it. I heard it was out there.
Yeah. Okay, so then there's this guy. I don't know what's going on, but uh, obviously he could fly. He went from Egypt to Saudi Arabia. He was. Somebody said he was there for a podcast or whatever, but he is traveling. So all he said was that he can't fly. He can't fly here, but that doesn't mean you still can't call somebody.
Right. Yeah, I watched. So I always watch RX Muscle while I'm doing my home improvement projects. So I watched like 3 or 4 back to back this morning, and Palumbo touched on it briefly. He said, it's kind of like what I was saying in the last podcast. He's the biggest thing over there and treated like royalty. So he's probably just enjoying that and riding that wave.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's really up in the air whether he's even going to be there at the Olympia this year. It's very, very questionable.
Yeah, I think in that podcast, I think Romano or someone might have said like Rami's apology didn't seem very heartfelt. Maybe it was Valentino, but one of them said that about that video. So, did you watch Rami's apology video yourself?
Yeah, I listened to it. His English is not the greatest. Even with my headphones on, I wish I would have had closed caption to get it a little better. But he just didn't say much. He just said basically it was that he couldn't fly here. What that means, he couldn't fly into the United States, but he could fly other places. I don't know. He couldn't fly here, and personal things. But like I said, that doesn't mean you can't pick up a phone and make a phone call or text. He has way he can contact the people he needs to contact. Even Dennis James could not get a hold of him. Dennis James couldn't get a hold of the people that he normally corresponds with, involved with Rami. So
It's one
who
of my pet,
knows?
it's one of my pet peeves when people plan something and then you go to call them up, they don't answer, and you hear a day later, oh, this. Like, all right, man, cool.
Just,
I hate
just
people like
call
that.
them. That's like these kids I work with. They just don't show up for work, and they don't even bother calling. You can't get you try to get a hold of them, you can't get a hold of them. It's no different. It's just that it's very disrespectful, uh, unbecoming of the champion.
Yeah,
If Phil Heath wasn't too well liked in the social media, Rami's appeal on the social media should definitely get hurt by doing things like this.
sure.
You, you you're a fan, you expect it, and for all what is what it's worth, you're expecting him to be there because he made a commitment, and you are totally let down. There's no way to deal with your fan. And if you
Right.
want to be big, you want to have a good following. You want. It seems like he has. To me, it seems like he has self-esteem issues. So if you want people to think good about you, that's definitely not the way to act.
Yeah. Maybe low self-esteem. He thinks he's not big enough or something.
Yeah,
I'm
I
joking.
think I think I think what it is maybe he really wasn't that that good a shape. He didn't want to be on stage and potentially look real bad. I don't know. I'm just trying to take a stab at it, and so he didn't want to stand next to some of these guys right now the way he's looking. And I don't know. I can't think of any other reason why, unless he just doesn't give a shit at all anymore, and he doesn't doesn't plan on competing. I don't know.
Well, if you're doubting
I don't know.
yourself, probably better to walk away as the champ than come back and be remembered as second, third, fourth, or fifth.
Yeah, like I said, right now, before he's a hero out in the Middle East and especially Egypt. He's there. I guess our equivalent to Rami would be a big box office movie star. That's how he is over there. And if he's a champion, he stays like that. And if he goes out champion, he remains that. Like you just said, if he places second, third, fourth, or whatever, anything but first, he goes out not a champion, he loses his status. I don't know,
I
but
heard
what'd you hear?
uh, I heard he was in a movie with Van Damme, and it was, I guess, his part was pretty horrible.
Yeah, I saw it. I'm trying. It wasn't. It was to me. I think it was some sort of spoof type movie. That's what I think it was. But it was hard. From what I saw, it was hard to tell. But yeah, it definitely looked pretty bad. He actually made Van Damme look like a good actor. So,
Yeah, I think the
so
guys on the
uh,
guys on RX Muscle were talking about it, saying it made what was it, Hercules in New York look good.
oh yeah. Did you ever see? You ever see that one?
Yep, I've watched
Yeah,
that movie.
I watched it a couple times, man. That's like, wow.
It was so bad. I couldn't. The bear scene is the one that stands out to me. Uh,
The dubbing in the old Chinese kung fu movies I used to watch when I was a kid, I thought was better than that. It was
right.
really, but it got the original Godzilla movies. That the dubbing with that was better than Hercules in New York.
God. But hey, that's a start. I mean, Arnold is one of the most successful people ever, just period. I mean, especially from where he started to where he is now, getting into politics, all that stuff.
Stay Hungry was right after that, right? Right. That's with Sally Fields and Jeff Bridges.
Might have been, yeah, that's right around the time for sure.
Yeah, I think that was actually. I remember hearing Sally Fields say that when she first met him, she knew he was going to be successful. And in between, uh, takes and everything. He was sitting down there. He was doing his studies for whatever he was studying. He went to college for. I don't know, but in between takes, he was studying. She knew he was whatever he did, he was going to be successful.
Yeah, he was driven and smart.
Yeah, yeah. And did you hear from it? We're waiting for his buddy Jeff Schneider, right?
Yeah, I sent him my name, and then he gave me a thumbs up. So I assume he's probably working on it right now. He said
Okay,
at the latest by 3. So
okay. Couple of things I want. What what I wanted to start to talk about. I talked about it before in the videos. I want to get somebody else's take on it.
oh
With
yeah, he'll have a lot to say for sure.
yeah. Maybe I'll start over here with you, me and you. What do you think about well, insulin and diuretics have become common protocol.
Hmm.
Uh, what do you got? Any opinions on? Seems like people feel it has. If you want to be the best, you got to use them. Got to use the diuretics at the end of the contest prep, and you got to use the insulin. Actually, for the contest prep, it's using the contest prep also. What's your take on it? And because the truth is, steroids in it itself is not dangerous unless you're doing some crazy shit. But insulin and diuretics can kill you
Yeah.
and kill you very, very quick. And I got a little story to talk about with insulin that can kill you really quick. So what do you think about this? Do these guys need to use them?
Uh, I don't think people need to, but if you're trying to be the biggest guy there in open bodybuilding, and you don't have the genetics to begin with, then sure, I guess use it with great supervision.
You're talking about both the diuretics and the insulin, or what are you talking about?
Because I was talking about insulin,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of other things you can do. Uh, Palumbo was talking about it too for a while. Like he said that even with insulin that you take, you can only absorb so much glycogen, and he said people just overdo it and kind of like test or anything else. You want to find the minimum effective dose, and so if you're going to do that, do it smart. But there's a lot of other things you can do. Like I'll ask you, have you ever heard of vanadyl sulfite?
Vandyl sulfate. It was back in the early years of the EAS. They pushed out. Matter
Yeah,
of fact, they had some sort of transformation contest, and they want you to use 3 supplements. It was the phosphagen that was their trade name for the creatine, the phosphagen, vanadil, vanadil sulfate. I forget what the name of the product was. And there was it was 3 things they wanted you using. And there was some sort of contest. But yeah, okay, I got a little carried away. Yeah, I remember the vanadil sulfate. It's
so
supposed to
like
mimic the effect of insulin.
yeah, to a degree, not 100%, but it's very effective. And I took it for a while. Uh, I guess it helped. I never really utilized it to absorb high amounts of carbs. I would just take it. But they say like if you have problems with blood sugar, that's something you want to take along with like chromium. There's cinnamon. There's your fish oils. There's so many things you can do for your blood sugar that I would resort to before taking actual insulin. That's just
You
me.
know, I mean, when I first started using insulin, back then I was under the total belief that it was told it was said to be the most anabolic hormone in the body. But insulin in itself really isn't anabolic. It shuttles. It's 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 not like you're not gonna. You just use insulin. You're not gonna get. It's not gonna have any kind of effects on you the way taking tests. It's not it aids in animal. I'm gonna get that word wrong. It aids in building a muscle, which shuttles the nutrients into the body, but it could also have a lot of negative effects. And you know what? From personal experience, you can do the same thing, use the same protocol every day after day, and everything is fine. Then all of a sudden, one day, for whatever reason, your usual protocol, things don't work well,
Mm,
and you're in
interesting.
a dangerous situation.
Mm. Yeah.
I wasn't even. Go ahead, and I'll tell you the story. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just saying, man, it just sounds too risky right away.
Yeah, it it's a storage hormone. Like I said, I heard him say it over and over again. It's the most anabolic hormone in the body. The most anabolic hormone in the body. It's a storage hormone. Uh, but it can also store fat. It can also make you fat. But it's extreme. Like I said, it's extremely dangerous. Uh, when I started using it, I wasn't even using it a lot. Uh, wasn't making any mistake with the measurements. I was using my insulin syringe. I was taking between 2 to 4 units, and I was only using it after the workout. I had my usual protocol, but I also had a couple of 32-ounce Gatorades handy with me for a period of time until I got past that potentially dangerous point.
Yeah.
All right, I get finished my workout. I do my insulin, take my drink, have some carbs. I'm gonna eat within a half an hour. I'm driving over to visit my mom. At this point, she's in a nursing home, and I'm stopped at a light. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
Oh
I
no.
started sweating profusely.
Oh
It
no.
was pouring out of me,
Oh fuck.
just pouring out of me. I was, in a matter of 10, 15 seconds, I was drenched. I'm
Oh.
feeling like really lightheaded and woozy. Now, stupid. But like I was really, there was nothing around me. There was it was the area. There was no businesses, no people walking. I'm only 5 minutes away from the nursing home. Let me get to the nursing home. I get over there. The smart thing to do would have been to grab a hold of somebody and say, "Listen, I got a problem," and tell them what happened, and let them help me. But me, of course, I don't do that. I go into the first floor lounge. I find the vending machines over there. I'm reaching my pocket. I'm grabbing change, and I'm trying to put it in the slots. You know,
Oh.
they got the candy bars, ice cream, sodas, and I keep on missing the freaking slots. I can't get the
Oh.
money in there. Finally, I get enough money in there. I got a soda out. I just sucked the soda down right away, and I had I started to get a little bit of sense to me at the moment. I
Whoa.
got some more money. I don't know what else I was doing. I probably had another soda. I'm eating candy bars.
Damn.
Finally, I get my shit together and I'm okay.
Oh.
And went to see my mom. Needless to say, that was the last time I ever used insulin.
Damn.
And the point being is, I only used I can't remember what I. It might have only been 2 units, but it was no more than 4 units, and it's not a lot. And I followed my same protocol that I've always used, and I never had a problem. And this one time I had a problem. I got lucky. I could have crashed the freaking
Yeah.
car. I could have fucking dropped in the fucking lounge. Nobody would found me until the next fucking meal. Uh, it really is dangerous stuff, and I don't think the the benefits are really worth the risk.
Do you think it's possible like you used like a different bottle that was actual like higher grade all of a sudden, and
Was
then that's
I was getting it. A buddy of mine, I was training him. He was uh, he was handicapped. He had these boot casts. Uh, that's the best way I can describe him. And he's big. Has like his cast and he's like a big boot over it. I call him boot cast on both legs. He had a lot of health issues. He used a motorized wheelchair to get around a lot. He approached me one day in the gym because he wasn't getting anywhere with his trainers, and I was training him, and he fell behind on money owed me, and he had extra insulin. Uh, he's only taking it when he needed. So I got it. His is right from the pharmacy. It was a
okay.
fast acting. It was a fast acting insulin. But the thing is, I was following my typical protocol. When
Man,
I've done it, I've done it dozens of times at that point. I never had a situation before, and out of nowhere, I had a situation.
Whew. I
I think the benefits really worth the risks.
from what I've heard, no. I get anxiety hearing your stories, imagining being in your shoes. Uh, and that's why I wouldn't want to mess with it. And my approach to bodybuilding right now is, uh, I'm gonna do it to have fun. I'm not gonna risk my health to get number one. If I gotta risk everything, then it's not worth it. And if some people, I guess they got nothing to lose or they don't care and they want to risk it
You know,
more, but not me.
I also talked about this bubble gut issue, and I think that insulin is a factor in it. I'm right now. I'm convinced that it it might not be the only thing causing it, but I do believe it's a factor. And I don't think it's growth hormone. I don't think it's growth hormone. People, it's making the internal organs grow. No, what I think what's happening is a storage hormone, and it's storing fat around the organs, which
Yeah,
is
didn't
I guess they say it's that's making the organs grow because it's taking up more space because you got a layer of fat around the organs, and I think that's causing it, the problem. And then on top of it, the amount of food that they're pounding down, which insulin is plays a role in the amount of food that they're pounding down.
yeah,
It's
and
dangerous.
the more visceral fat you get, like say around your liver and whatnot, that is definitely not a good thing, not a good road to be on. Uh,
No, and if you're lean, these guys aren't fat. They had their body fat levels are low. They're lean. So if you're lean and your internal organs got a layer of fat around them, it's gonna show in some form or another. And I think it's actually insulin is actually part of the that problem. And like I said, on twofold, the amount of food they got to pound down because they're taking insulin. I don't think the reward is worth the risk. No offense, Milo Sarchev. I know that's part of your protocol, but I don't think the reward is worth the risk.
and even at the amount of food that I eat in a day, I don't think it's a ton, but maybe to some people it is. But it definitely has made my stomach push out because it's the amount of food I got to eat every day, and that's as simple as that. So I can imagine a guy who's 50 pounds heavier than me and on insulin, and they're loading up on carbs. Like, yeah, it's double, triple whammy on their gut.
All right, so that makes it it's deadly. People can die from it and have died from it.
Yeah, was it
Uh,
Dallas McCarver, right?
well, it's believed that uh, his blood sugar was dropping, and he was trying to get food in his system, and it didn't happen fast enough, and he went unconscious, and then he choked on his food and died, or a combination, or whichever one it was. But it's believed that he was trying to get food in his system because his blood sugar was dropping, and it didn't happen in time.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So that, I mean, that pretty much covers the insulin part. That's I'll never ever touch it. But
I was scared to death after that. I said, "Fuck that, man!
yeah, yeah.
I ain't touching that. It ain't worth fucking dying."
One of my there's Jeff now. He's getting ready. Um, one of my buddies. I was just talking to him today. I won't say his name, but I haven't seen him in a while, and you see me posting, and he was saying, "Man, like, what are you doing right now?" And I said, "Just TRT." And he said, "If you would do this, do this, do that, you would look so much more amazing." And talked about insulin and stuff, and I was just like, I'm just not down, man. I don't want to do. I just want to stay healthy and maybe do little bumps of things here and there, but I'm not going to risk my health to be a champion bodybuilder.
And there are people that believe that using insulin when not necessary, not needed to use insulin, can bring on diabetes.
Right, right.
And I'm not in the medical field. I don't know, but I've heard that being said, and by numerous sources. So take it for what it's worth. Uh, like I said over and over again, the reward is not worth the risk. We got
Yeah,
Jeff. We got Jeff there yet?
yeah. I'm asking for his username so I can invite him, I guess, to our thing.
Yeah.
And then there's all these other tricks you can do with absorbing carbs. There's carb backloading. There's carbs after your workout, during your workout, before your workout. There's chromium. There's vanadil sulfite. There's all this stuff you can do before having to play with some insulin.
Yeah, I told you during one of my preps, I did carb backloading, which I think I invented because when I did it, I never heard about it before. I didn't know anybody doing it. I just had an idea. I found out a few years later that it was actually a thing that people were doing. But I found that worked for me. But as I mentioned, I did all my training first thing in the morning. I had a very physical job, and I was able to really deplete my glycogen storage. But I found that worked very well. And I say that if you thoroughly deplete your glycogen, your body will supercompensate. In other words, allow you to absorb more than you would have been able to prior.
Right. I've heard of that before. Hey, let me see if I can add Jeff here.
Okay.
Let's see. He said to use his phone number, so maybe that'll work. 13684.
Well, you're doing it on a computer, right?
I guess.
When I hit the add button, I get people that come up and I can click on the person, and then that's how I do it on the phone.
But you do it through add participants, right?
Uh, I think it says. Let me make it come up. Uh, I see it on my screen. I see add people.
Okay.
I'm trying to get rid of that now. Okay, this tech idiot doesn't know how to get rid of that. Let's see if I can. That does it. Oh, this idiot got the subtitles on again. Sorry, folks. I'm a little technical illiterate. All right, I got that off.
Sorry about that. Let me see here.
Please forgive us while we try to fix our technical difficulties here. You got two tech illiterates that are trying to figure out what they're doing.
Okay,
Uh,
I think I figured it out.
okay, we're gonna try to get Jeff Schneider on over here to join the discussion. I hear some beeping. Is that him coming on? All right, like I was saying, folks, there might be some benefits for muscle gain using insulin, but all in all, the rewards are definitely not worth the risk. It is dangerous and potentially deadly. I can tell you how dangerous it is from personal experience. And as you heard, Chris Miller agrees with me on this. And I'm actually watching what you're doing because you got a mirror behind you. See what you're doing over there. Everybody watching can see what you're doing over there.
Okay, I found him.
Okay, you
All
send
right.
out the invites coming on.
Okay. Okay, got it. He should be coming on. God, we're horrible at this.
All right, so you're in agreement with me about the insulin, I assume.
Yeah, I would never take it. And then the second part to your question was the diuretics.
Yeah,
That's the other scary thing you could die pretty quick from.
yeah,
That
very, very. The first name that comes to mind is Momo Benaziza. Uh,
yeah.
it's and are diuretics really necessary?
I don't think so. There's so many ways. I mean, it's going to get you a level beyond what you would do without it, best case scenario. But I just don't think it's worth it.
I think if I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, if you do your homework right and your prep is on point, water shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
Water. I mean, if it's going to be done, problem is that it's become protocol. It's like you do this, and diuretics, whether it's actually needed or not. It's become protocol.
Yeah.
I can see having something on hand if needed. I would do something probably in the lines of diazide, probably the safest option. But it should only be if it's needed. And a lot of times it's probably not needed and they're using it anyway. And what do you think happens? They fuck up their physique. If it's not needed, if you're not your muscles, what are your muscles made up of?
Mostly water.
So if it doesn't have water to take from under the skin, where's it going to take the water from?
That's a
Muscle.
good. That's a yeah.
Take for the muscle. And that's probably the reason why a lot of these guys, I see a lot of times these guys flatten out. They look great just before the show, and all of a sudden they're on stage and they flatten out. They take that whatever they're using to try to get that 1% more or that 0.5% more, and pulling water out of the muscles instead.
Yeah, you look flatter and you'll risk your life.
Yeah. Like I said, I think if you do your homework right, you probably shouldn't take anything, but you wouldn't need anything. And like I said, if worst case scenario, if you really are, hey, Hadi Chupan, one of his Olympians, he arrived the day before the Olympia or the night before the Olympia. A long flight, even a short flight, can make you retain water. So I can see something.
That's you.
The need of using something. All right, we got somebody here.
There he is, Obi-Wan. That was difficult, man.
Hey,
your first day of work and you're late.
Still trying to blow this up a little bit here. Hold on. I don't think you can expand it. I think it's just to help. Okay. You can't expand my picture, huh?
I can. Can you see
it? Can you see it? Okay.
Yeah, but a lot of times in the film, in the video, it comes out a little different than what we see. Like I only see part of Chris's head is cut off. But
yeah. What do you see of me?
I see have a small. We can see
like.
There we go. There we go.
Your forehead to below your. Actually, I see the top of your head and your mustache to your mustache.
Hold on, I see everybody just fine on my because I'm on a computer.
Yeah, I'm not seeing everybody right now. One has their camera off. Somebody has their camera off.
No, it's probably on your end. Right now, my camera is on. I'm sure of that. Your camera's on, right, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay, so my camera must not be on.
Yours is on because we can see you.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, you're a little further away from the camera, so you're a little better now.
He says you're
better, so you see you're better over there. Okay, so your first day of work and you're late. What's up?
I wonder if you turn it silent.
Your audio's coming too good.
Hey, scoot over a little bit, then I can see you better. I can. You're like off to the side. When you scoot it over right now, I could see you better. It's Michael, right?
This way, yeah, Michael. This way or this way?
No, the way you were just coming over, where I could see you. That way, right there. Yeah, see it now. I can kind of.
Well, if you're filming it, you should be able to fit wherever I'm sitting. You should be able to get a good view of me. When a lot of times, part of Chris is cut off, but when I go back and I look at the video, it's fine.
Yeah, I can tell. I can assure you guys, everyone's in the center of the camera right now because I'm seeing it from an accurate view on my computer.
I can just hear you. I can't see you, Chris.
This is okay.
And that's okay. I don't need to see you.
I'm not the prettiest anyway. We were talking about you're a prep coach, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, first thing we were talking about was the use of insulin with in bodybuilding. What's your take on it? Do you recommend it? Do you shy away from it, or absolutely not? What do you think?
I don't really. I'm not a big PEDS, prep coach. I think that it's really bad. It's really dangerous. You can go into diabetic coma. Guys have died because they got stuck on the freeway because they couldn't get home to get their shots. I mean, to me, that's a little insane. And, you know, I just don't think that the bodybuilders have the same look with the insulin. I think it's not as good. It's not as sharp. You can't see, you know, a lot of the muscle, you know, separation and the intricate muscles that we used to see on the guys in the 80s and early 90s, you know, and even 70s. I just think that the beauty of the physique is lost from, you know, the synthol, the insulin, you know, and, you know, it's not even healthy anymore. You know, I mean, if you want to be a bodybuilder, just you consider yourself to be unhealthy most of the time. You know, it's like
telling Chris before, now at this point now, I firmly believe that insulin is one of the factors with this bubble gut problem. Also, I'm totally convinced that it's a factor.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. I totally agree. You know, it's just, if you're not a diabetic, you shouldn't be taking insulin. That's just, you know, I mean, figure out other ways, you know, to do that, you know, with supplements and, you know.
We were talking about vanadyl sulfite being one of them.
Right. Exactly. Yep. And a lot of people don't even think about that anymore. You know, you hardly know anybody that's on vanadyl sulfate anymore. You know,
I'm about to order a bottle of it because it's becoming harder to find at any supplement store. It's disappearing from places.
Oh, really? I really tried to find it in supplement stores.
Yes.
When you mentioned it was the first time in a long time I heard somebody even mention vanadyl sulfate.
Yeah. There's 3 stores I used to get it from, and they stopped carrying it, and I would ask why, and they said, "Oh, the supply chain." I said, "Wow, it's getting that scarce, huh?" But I also know someone who right now he owns New U Life. If you ever search it, it's an anti-aging company. My friend Alex is just taking off with that. But he told me once, a number of years ago, he said all the supplements that mimic anything you can get prescription-wise, like Big Pharma's trying to make it so it's harder to get those things. That's what he was saying. Like they're trying it's a matter of getting like a patent on certain things, and then they make it harder for us to get at a store level. And
go ahead, finish it. I got a great example for you. Go ahead, finish.
Well, I feel like vanadyl sulfite is one of those ones that, because for whatever reason, they made insulin 10 times more expensive than it needed to be out of nowhere. Remember, like whoever invented it made it like what was like less than $1 for whatever you needed.
Yeah. What is the recommended dosage for that vanadyl sulfate? I'm not.
You know, I don't remember. You know, like whatever was on the bottle, it'd say take this many a day, milligrams, micrograms. I'll just take a pill before a meal that I was going to have a lot of carbs with, kind of like I would with chromium.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, definitely. What you were talking about with the big pharma, that's exactly what happened with ephedrine. Ephedrine was used in all the weight loss products. It's been used for a long time. It's an asthma medic. It's in Primatene, Bronchate.
Yeah, you're talking about ephedrine, right?
Yeah, ephedrine. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I'm sorry. Okay, so it's used in all these weight loss products. It's an asthma product. You buy it over the counter. All of a sudden, you can't put it in any weight loss product. It's illegal to. All the products are being taken off the shelf. What do? You walk into the drugstore, you go and you buy yourself the Primatene tablets. 2 Primatene tablets, 25 milligrams of hydrochloric ephedrine.
I remember in high school.
It was never my point is, it was never taken off the market. It wasn't allowed to be sold. It was put in the weight loss products. And they were telling you that it's dangerous, that people are dying from it. So if people are dying from it, why don't you take it off the shelves altogether? It's still being sold. What was happening was it was really cheaper and more effective than mostly everything they were pushing pharmaceutical. And the pharmaceutical companies wanted it off the market as a weight loss product. So, and we were told that people are dropping dead from ephedrine, but they weren't dropping dead. It's still get it on your Primatene tablets. Big Pharma, like we were talking about with Vanadol.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think that sums it up about, insulin. We were talking about it earlier, Jeff, just
What I want
weighing the
to
pros
mention,
and
Jeff,
cons.
also, excuse me, Chris. I had a personal incident with insulin.
Oh, yeah.
Insulin was touted as, I was told that it was the most anabolic hormone in the body. So I was using insulin for a short period of time. I don't remember the exact dosage, but it's very low. It was between 2 to 4 units. And it was just after my workouts, and I have my typical protocol. And I've done it dozens of times. And everything was fine, no problems. I'm driving after my workout, did my insulin, started my protocol, driving over to visit my mom like I typically do at the nursing home. I'm stopped at a light, and in a matter of seconds, I'm drenched in sweat. The sweat is just oozing off me. And now I'm getting like really freaking lightheaded. And it's like a really quiet area. The cars are driving there. People are walking around. No stores or houses. It's right off the highway. Okay, I'm 5 minutes away from the nursing home. I drive over to the nursing home. Like I was telling Chris, the smart thing to do would have been go right up to one of the nurses and tell them what the situation was. But me, of course, being the fucking idiot that I am, I go into the lounge on the first floor. You got the vending machines, the sodas, the candy, ice cream, and everything. So I'm fumbling in my fanny pack for my change. I'm trying to put the change in the fucking slots, and I keep on missing the slots. And I'm like, oh fuck. I can't get the change in the slots. Finally, I got a soda. Once I got a soda, I was able to get myself together a little bit. I raided the vending machines. Needless to say, that was the last time I ever touched insulin. I use the same exact protocol every freaking time. This one time, everything went bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I have no idea why, but fuck that. It ain't worth ain't
Jeff, why do you think there was a variable that day? What do you think could have caused that?
Well, it depends on what his diet was that day too, probably. Maybe it varied a little bit from the normal, his insulin was already up a little high to begin with. And that could have thrown it off too, because, not everybody eats the same foods day in and day out, sometimes they're eating some pizza or, eating something a little healthier, it just depends,
Sure.
back then. I was,
huh?
Go ahead.
There had to be some variable there, to cause that to happen, just like,
eating,
what's that?
as far as eating, I'm like back then I was 8 hours a day. Every 3 hours, I got up twice during the night, and I had a drink, one meal, and a little solid food meal ready for the second one. Even to this day, I can still eat the same thing every day for the same meal every day, the same thing. And back then, my first meal one was this, meal two was this, meal three was this,
Yeah,
and
right.
I was very, very consistent. I don't think it was the variable was the food.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's the only thing I can, unless it was some different insulin and it wasn't the same insulin and you got some bad insulin,
That's what I said.
we're getting it at,
So, I got a handle on that one also. I was training a guy in the gym. He was handicapped. He was also a diabetic, and he had insulin. But he fell a little behind in payments. So he was giving me some insulin. So the insulin, it was coming directly from the pharmacy.
Yeah,
It was.
it's funny you said that. It's funny you said that about the guy. Would you say he was a paraplegic or?
Well, he had a number of issues going on. He's deceased now. He died during dialysis, but he had. That's way I can describe it. He had these boot casts. These boots, they were cast inside. It was cast. The outer part would look like a boot. And every so often they were removed. He was taken care of and put back on again.
Yeah, it's funny if you say that, about that because back in the 90s, I remember hearing that was pretty common with people that were diabetics. They were selling, their insulin to bodybuilders because bodybuilders were wanting that, and the same thing was going on. It was crazy, so they making extra money because they got as much insulin as they want because they're diabetics, and the bodybuilders were making out on it too.
Yeah, I was being easy with him for a while, but at this point, he's really fell behind a bit, and I needed something. And I was thinking about it for a while, and I was told that it was the most anabolic hormone in the body, which I totally disagree with now, anyway. But that's what led to do it.
Right.
So we all agree about insulin.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here
I honestly think it should be, outlawed in the the bodybuilding world, and maybe eventually it might be if there's enough deaths that happen. So I don't know. It's just bad. It's bad for the industry. It's not a good thing. And there's no longevity. There's no longevity with it. You're not going to see Dexter Jackson's on stage anymore. They're not going to live that long.
It's a total anomaly. He's a total anomaly, Dexter Jackson.
Right.
He's the last one we saw like that was Albert Beckles.
Oh man, Albert Beckles. That's who I was trying to think of the other day when we were talking about bodybuilders, longevity. And then I can't remember his name right now. There's another guy I'm thinking about. He won the Masters Olympia. Vince Taylor.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Dude, he was outstanding.
Right. I totally agree. I just feel like a couple times, his conditioning was off a little bit, and I think he would have placed higher. There was one time he had the eye patch, when he got his eye injured and he competed, and he was off there at that Olympia a little bit, which was expected, I guess, because of the eye situation he had. And I think that was back before that.
That was 91 or 92, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so. Yeah.
Hey guys, excuse me for just 1 second. I'll be right back. Just keep chatting. Sorry.
Yeah. So, I just feel like insulin and the synthol, synthol is just terrible. It's gets into your cardiovascular system, but it blurs the lines. It blurs the beauty of the physique, and then, the guys are, putting too much in their delts. And even though they have a good sized chest, they get their delts so big that it makes their chest look small. And,
are you talking about Hadi Chupan right now?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I don't think he's using synthol though. I really don't think he's using synthol. I think he's just hitting that one. He's hitting the delts. He's using a lot of stuff, and he's hitting the delts every shot.
A lot of critics are really pointing it out with their magic markers and pinpoint it. I don't know. It looks pretty questionable to me, if you ask me.
Yeah, there's definitely something going on, but I really, I don't think it's Synthol at this point. I really think that he is just, you know what? Let me tell you something. You have experience with needles?
What's that?
You have experience with needles?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I took steroids off and on for 18 years. Until I had congestive heart failure and almost died. Yeah.
So what if you hit in the same spot over and over again? Aren't you cause some sort of damage there?
Well, yeah,
scar?
You're gonna get hard scar tissue. Absolutely, and that's why they got to move it around, and not just. But
I think that's what he's doing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I remember back in the day, a lot of the guys used to site inject, into the bicep, the tricep, and Milos did it one time and almost killed himself. He regrets that, and he talks about it to this day, and he's not afraid to. Even just recently on Instagram, he posted his whole cycle going into that show, even with his synthol, and there's other fillers now. It's just not synthol. It's they're using other things to use as fillers. It's not real. It doesn't stay there unless you keep doing it on a constant basis.
Go ahead.
But to me, these guys are like human pincushions between steroid shots, insulin shots, synthol shots. I mean, God, I couldn't handle all of it.
Did you mention Milos? Going back to insulin for a second. I have no disrespect to Milos.
Yeah.
But he's a big proponent of insulin, the use of insulin.
Still is. Yeah.
No, still is. He still is. I said I'm not going to get into a debate with him. He's a lot smarter than me, but he insists that it's safe if used properly. I just think that it's just too risky.
Yeah, it's definitely too risky, and I think he learned from Nasser El Somebody. They used to be really good friends, and of course Nasser's not with us anymore. I don't know why. I mean, maybe it was a hereditary thing that they all talk about, I love how they always point away from the peds.
Out of breath when he was talking. Whenever he was talking, didn't he always seem to be out of whenever he was talking? The
guy was 200 something pounds.
He always seemed out of breath.
Yeah, I know. It's and every one of Milos' athletes, when they're with him, they're on insulin. All of them are. Yeah. And it's like
they all are.
You go, God, they're looking better than they ever have, but they can still look that good without the insulin, But I don't know. I just think there's too many risk factors.
Yeah, reward not worth the risk.
Right.
Since we got a contest prep coach, we started talking about wanted to talk about the two dangerous things that bodybuilders are doing in the contest for training, contest prep, and everything. The insulin, and then we were talking about the diuretics. What's your take on the diuretics?
Oh, the one time I used, and it wasn't even a hard, it wasn't like a Lasix diuretics. It was a little less than that. And man, I cramped up. I locked up. My wife was putting Protan on me at the time because they didn't have spray tan boost back then. You had to do it yourself. And I remember she was trying to get my lower back area, and I bent over and I just locked up. I couldn't even move, and I never cramp, and I couldn't even move for like a minute or so. And then, after that, I was in my bed taking a nap, and my hamstring locked up so bad, my heel, almost hit my hamstring. It cramped up so bad. I mean, I was just, and it was horrible feeling because it was just like I was sweating. It was, and honestly, the only reason I did it because I was competing against a guy that I knew that was doing it, and I had never done it before. And I always kind of followed Dorian Yates' philosophy on that, and but I just said, oh, I'll just do this mild one, and it messed me up pretty bad. I didn't do as good as I should have done if I didn't do it. So for me, I see better results without diuretics. And to me, I feel like diuretics is for the lazy people that didn't really put in the work during the prep. And the last, 2 weeks before the show, they're trying to bring in this awesome package that never happens because, you got to put in the work. If you don't put in the work, I don't care, no magic pill's gonna do it,
I remember the prep you took me through. I followed that to a T.
Yeah.
And I transformed.
Diuretic did you use?
What's that? He was natural. He was natural then. And, we just, what I did with him was, he had 8 weeks, to prepare for his next show. And so we did, almost like an intermittent fasting with him, where, he was eating like 4 meals a day, and, he was having like 13 or 14 hours, as far as the fasting would go. And it worked really well for him, and that's basically what we did. We kept his protein high, it was probably around 300 grams of protein a day, as far as I can remember. And the carbs were pretty moderate because, we needed to bring his legs in and his glutes in really, really good. And he had a tendency of holding there pretty good. So, and we brought striations out in his glutes on the side chest pose that he had never had. Even his glutes were really tight from, his rear shots too. I mean, it could have been a little bit better, but we only had 8 weeks. So I think if he would have had just a little bit longer, he would have been spot on everywhere. But even how he looked, he should have placed no lower than 3rd place in that show. And he could have played the top 2, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No diuretics either, right?
Nope.
No, we didn't use anything. And as far as the water protocol went, we were at a gallon a day, like months out, right? And then when we got to like, what was it, a week, 2 weeks out, or was it 1 week out? We went up to 3 gallons for a minute.
Yeah. We increased the water up, pretty good, especially because he was so active posing, doing cardio training, doing, supersets, triceps, those things, he needed extra water. But another thing that I do before shows is when you're going into the show is I use a lot of natural aids to help rid water subcutaneously, I use asparagus. I use lemon juice, fresh lemons, cut the lemons, squeeze it on your chicken and your rice and all that stuff. It helps, do it naturally. What's that?
I hate asparagus. The last few weeks before the competition, I ate asparagus. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But I ate it the last few weeks before the competition.
Yeah, it works. It works great. It works really good. I have all my athletes doing asparagus leading into the shows, and also, doing some good dietary fat loading and along with the carb loading, and depending on the person's, metabolism, everybody's a little bit different,
Jeff.
Anything over the counter? Anything over the
What's
counter?
that?
No,
over the counter?
no, nothing over the counter.
Nothing?
No, but I was gonna ask this time around, do you want to try the vodka the night before?
I'm not sure. I did that with Chris, and it helped him sleep really good. I mean, he looked good too. We could do a trial run too and try it and see how it works too. Rather than, I mean, it's going to help dry you out. It's going to help relax you. but some people that don't drink very often, and your body's in this kind of not a normal state when you're getting ready for a show, and then you put alcohol on it. Because see, I don't drink alcohol very often, so for me to do that, it might mess me up. You know what I mean? But if you drinking, and you drink and stuff, and you don't have any issues, then I don't think it's going to be a problem. So
like I had some tequila the other night with my pizza. And
this is talking about, see this.
And I woke up, so I was 198.8 that day, and then I woke up at just 200 point something, but I was full and super veiny, and my legs were even like kind of veiny when I was sitting on the toilet that morning. But I was dry, and I was thirsty as hell. Like about an hour later, I was like, oh shit, I need to drink some water.
Yeah. See, my thing is all about, during that prep is, when the person gets really good condition, then you can kind of try some things and see how it comes out, and then that way, leading in the show that, you're going to be spot on, like when I have, Chris do his cheat meals or whatever, I want to see how he looks the next day after he's eating those cheat meals, and if I see something that's really.
Let me ask you about the water. What I was doing is I would typically drink like a gallon of water a day, roughly. I didn't measure exactly, but typically around a gallon of water a day. But leading up at the very end of the prep, I'd actually work it up to almost 3 gallons a day. And I found what happened was I'm peeing around the clock. All right?
Oh, yeah.
So much, but now once I come back to water, it happens so quick. The body doesn't catch on right away.
Right.
So I'm still peeing at an accelerated rate. I'm still peeing nonstop. I'm not drinking. I cut my water drastically. I'm not drinking 3 gallons a day, but I'm still peeing like I'm drinking 3 gallons a day. And I found that actually got me really, really dry.
Yeah. That was the whole idea of what we did.
Yeah.
We didn't play with the salt until the end too, right?
Well, here's the thing, we keep sodium in the diet the whole time, so then we don't have to cut out sodium. Remember, sodium makes our muscles more full, keeps us from cramping. And I never cramp in the off season. And even before a show, I make sure in the morning when I wake up, I take a banana, I take a potassium pill. I do, a number of things to try not to cramp up when I'm on stage. And it always seems like when I hit that rear double bicep shot or rear lat spread, spikes that calf. And it's like, Jesus, man, a couple of times it cramped up on me so bad, but it went away fast. But it just seems like, and you just got to be so careful, because
my last competition. I was telling Chris, I had that my last competition. I wasn't using diuretics. My worst show, I couldn't hold the shot. I started cramping up as soon as I started hitting the shot. I'll tell you what happened. I didn't touch any diuretics. Back then, I was still wearing partials. Now I got full upper and lowers. My teeth are store-bought. I am so freaking neurotic. The night before, I'm packing and unpacking, packing and unpacking what I have to take with me 7, 8 times. I get up, I rest a little bit, I get up. I'm unpacking 3, 4 more times before I'm ready to leave. I don't forget anything. I get in, I'm online waiting to sign in. I think it must have been the Eastern, my last show. It must have been the Eastern USA. I'm waiting to sign in, get up to the front of the line. Bev greets me. And after I sign in, directs me where to go to weigh in. We go to the auditorium. Well, just before the auditorium, there's a little lobby over there. And as I'm walking, I realize I forgot my fucking partials. I didn't have my fucking teeth on. Now, I don't know if you know, Manhattan, back then it was the Tribeca Performing Arts, the BMCC. If you get there early enough on a Saturday morning, you get parking by the place. I have parking right by the place. I ran back to the car, shot back home to Brooklyn. Got my freaking teeth. Crazy thing about it was, unless you were face to face with me, you couldn't even see it.
Right.
Race back. I made it just in time. I couldn't find a spot. I just parked about 10 blocks away, ran over there. Needless to say, I probably lost about 4 or 5 more pounds of body weight, of fluid. I just drained out completely.
Because you're running your ass off.
I drained out completely.
And
As soon as I got
stressing,
on stage, as soon as I got on stage, as soon as I hit a freaking pose, I couldn't even hold it. I felt myself blocking up.
Yeah.
Brian backstage asked me how did it go. I told him what happened. He goes, "Why didn't you come talk to me? He would have told me what to do under those circumstances. Maybe it would have a different outcome." But then that was without the diuretics.
Yeah. One thing that, we always learn more and more. And, when I was working with Aaron Baker, one of my past coaches that I worked with, like when I worked with Chris, I had him take in, 3 gallons of water, but he used to try to have me take in 4 gallons of water. And, it was very difficult to do that for, a couple of days. And, later on I learned that, you could actually, drown if you drink too much water.
What's the point? At what point is it, do you become, is it water intoxication?
Right. And then you flush your electrolytes out, and everything. And that's not good either. And so, he had me only taking in no more than 2 gallons of water towards the end. And that was, I found that that's perfect, especially when your activity level's up to the extent it's up when you're getting ready for a show and you have all this extra stuff you're doing because you got to prepare to get on stage.
So you have to drink to get to that point. How much do you have to drink? How much do you have to drink to get to that point?
That's a good question. Everybody's different. I think it's different between how much your body sweats, your activity level. I think that has a lot to. If you sit on the couch and try to drink 3 gallons of water, I think you'll probably kill yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You don't move around and stuff. So
you lose it through your breath as well.
Right. Exactly. So, I think that, you can overdo it, but of course, you learn from other people and you think that that's set in stone, but it's not always set in stone. You can see later on that, hey, that wasn't the smartest thing to do, but it worked at the time, but I need to make these changes,
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah.
So I was saving the question for next time we were on the phone, but maybe we can peek into your crystal ball for this next show.
Okay.
What are you brainstorming for me? When we start, are we going to start 3 months out, 4 months out? And what are we going to eat this time since I'm way bigger?
I think because it's been so long for you. And let's see, when is the show again? It's October?
October 8th.
October 8th. And we're towards the end of May right now, right?
Mm-hmm. So basically like 4-point-something months. Yeah.
I'm going to say, the longer prep, the better, because it's been so long for you. And, I always explain to people sometimes there's things that happen when you're on your prep that you can't, you have no control over. Let's say you're 2 weeks into your prep and you get COVID,
mm-hmm.
then you're behind at least 2 weeks, so you got to make up for that 2 weeks, so if you just go, okay, I'm just going to do, 3 months, and that's it. And something like that happens, then, you might not be ready. Right.
Right.
So, I would say, let's shoot for anywhere from 3 to 4 months, and, that I think that's 3 months is ideal, Robinson always talks about it. 90 days. Yeah. 90.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? so, I would say at least 3, if not 4. I haven't seen you real close up with video, and, I've seen, your stuff online, but it's different. You know what I'm saying? Till I like go through a posing session and see from every angle how you look, will I be able to make, a real decision on that one, but I would say,
I want to comment on that.
So we start the diuretics, right? 2 weeks out, we diuretics. And 2 weeks out, we the diuretics, right?
No, never. No. I'll say, Michael, I wanted to give props to Jeff, though, because like when he first coached me, we did it all online, obviously, because he lives in Washington, and with the what?
Washington State.
Yeah, and
okay.
So it felt like he was right next to me the whole time, because like we'd video call all the time. He'd say, "How do you look this morning?" Texting, whatever. But I'll tell you what, for like being coached, it was just the most thorough, best experience ever, and I could see why, he's as good as he is. But
he's an old-timer like me.
Well, I appreciate that, Chris. And I just was seeing you on that one group that I used to be on, and
right.
I would see you post, and I'd be like, man, I could help this guy. This guy's got a great physique. He just needs the right information. He just needs the right knowledge. So it was great. When I talked to you and you really wanted to work with me, because sometimes guys have big egos and they're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. You're not even a pro. I'm a natural pro, and and this and that.
Right.
But most of my friends, even though I haven't got my pro card, I've came really close to getting it. They respect me like a pro. They said, Jeff, you are a pro. You've been screwed
up. The thing
up.
is, though, you're natural the whole time. You're competing against other guys on stuff, guys on diuretics, guys on PEDs. You're natural, bro. So I mean, like your friend said, you are a pro.
Yeah, right. And I don't want to do it any differently, and everybody's different. I don't have nothing against steroids. Obviously, I've taken them in the past myself, but from training my son, my oldest son, naturally from his earliest age till now, and to see the results that he's got when you have all the right components there, with your nutrition and the right kind of training and not overtraining, and choosing the right exercises that get the job done, that don't damage your joints and tendons later on down the line. It was huge. He's put on 30 pounds in 4 years, and he's natural. I mean, it's not like he was killing himself to do it. It was just slow and steady. And a lot of guys, they want it too fast now. It's like before I think I did like, 10 shows before I decided to do a national show, or even more than that, probably. It's like they do one show and they place well, and, they don't look like they're national level, but their coach blows them up so big because they want to take them to the nationals so they can make more money off of them. But they're just not ready, and if you're not ready, don't go to that next level till you're ready, because it really sucks when you go from one of those smaller shows and you're on top of the world and everybody's cheering for you in the audience, and you go to the nationals and it's like a pin's dropping, and you're like,
some of the best boxing trainers, they're not pros. I mean, they were pros, but they weren't great pros.
Right.
Best boxing trainers. I used to be a big fan of boxing. Some of the greatest trainers were never the top pros.
Right.
Some of them, they might not have. You might call them glorified club fighters.
Mm-hmm.
But in the ring, but they were great trainers.
Look at Honey Rambo. He's never been a pro, but he seems to know what he's doing.
Right. Yeah. Look what he's done with Derek Lunsford. Holy mackerel, man. Jesus.
So, Jeff, we were talking about Derek. Do you think he's going to be in the 212 or higher?
I was just talking about this with my other friend, my workout partner, Chris, that I train with. And I was
Yeah.
like, dude, there is no way he can get back down to 212. He's got to be like secretly going to do bodybuilding. There's no way he weighs, 200.
What do you think he weighed as a guest posing? How much do you think he?
I have no idea. He looks like he's easy as big as Hunter LeBron, and he's like what 280.
I think he says 70s, high 270s in the morning when he wakes up.
Okay, now he is because he's probably dialing in more for the show. Because I know he was up to like 280 there for a while, but even 270. Okay, I mean,
yeah, conditioning. He was pretty good conditioning.
He's got quality muscle on him, so it's not like he has a lot of fat to lose. So I just don't see him getting down to that weight. It's crazy. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
If he gets down to that weight, he's gonna lose everything.
Yeah,
he's not gonna have.
He's gonna lose his fullness and he really will. I don't know. And what's crazy about him is out of all the bodybuilders, he has the best width, he has the best back, and the best waistline, and one of the best vacuums, and he has more of a classic physique. He's got more aesthetics to his physique. His shape alone is just crazy.
He just needs to work on the cuts and the bringing the conditioning.
That's what he needs to work on. That's it, man. He's got everything else. He doesn't even need to get any bigger. He just needs to get more detailed,
I think he can come in contest shape somewhere around 250.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, easy. Yeah, I can't even imagine what he's taken to grow like that. That's just insane.
What do you think about Nick Walker?
He looks like Dallas McCarver did before he died. It doesn't look healthy, man. It can't. I don't know. It just looks weird.
The guy he's hooked up with is in the medical field. His new prep coach is in the medical field. And according to the agreement for him to work with him, he needed to get all these tests, and he wanted to see the results of all these tests. So, and even the calcium score was taken also, which is supposed to be a really big indicator.
I heard he was good.
According to what we're hearing, everything was fine.
Yeah.
So Dallas, I don't think he was being checked up.
Yeah, you remember, obviously John Meadows, right? He was posting all those videos about his great reviews with his heart, and had his doctor right next to him, and they're going over all this stuff, and then, a couple months later, he's dead.
John Meadows, there were pre-existing. He had issues going on for quite a while. He had medical issues. So
right, but what I'm saying is, I remember Matt Porter bragging about his blood pressure and his doctor reads and all that, and then a couple weeks later, he dropped dead of a heart attack.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, so I mean, be careful about when you brag, because it just seems like when people do that, I'm like, they shouldn't do that. It's just not a good thing to do. Just don't do that.
Yeah. Every day's a gift.
Right.
Okay. So the stars are in his favor for as far as health. What do you think of him? The way that guy's freaking growing.
It's just insane how much he's grown. But what I do respect about him is he's one of the only pro bodybuilders I see that use decent exercise for him.
Yeah.
Holds the weight, and he's very smart and knowledgeable. The sad thing about it is it's the judging criteria that's pushing these guys to have to push to that level. Because if you would have seen him when he first turned pro, he had an aesthetic physique. I mean, great waist from the nationals. If you look at his pictures, and now it's like, and I don't think he had those really bad veins in his calves and all that stuff then either. I've had that issue on my legs, not as many as him,
but I got a couple, and in some of my shots when I was on stage, depending on the angle, you can see it. It's very noticeable.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that's I don't think it has anything
You-
necessarily has anything to do with bodybuilding.
So I have a personal training business here in Washington that I've been, we've owned now, and we've ran me and my wife for 10 years. And I have a client that started with me when he was 64 years old. And he told me he wanted to be in the best shape of his life when he was 70. Chris met him. It was Kurt. Remember Chris?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So he had really bad varicose veins in his calves when we started. And it was about, I don't know, 2 months ago. He doesn't show himself very often. He's very humble. I would love to take videos of him to show how awesome this guy is. Chris hasn't seen him in a long time. He's even improved even more. It's like crazy. But he trains his calves really hard, and Chris can tell you that I have some pretty hard calf training routines, and he's gotten rid of them. I don't know if it's the blood flow, because we do some routines where we do 50 reps for calves, and that you can't even hardly tell that he even had varicose veins. So, it's funny to me that a guy that's in his 70s can get rid of varicose veins, but a guy that's in his 20s, has them so bad genetically, at his young age, and it just doesn't make any sense. And I always heard anybody that does insulin, it opens up new pathways for the veins, and a lot of times it's the squiggly veins. And those are all signs of guys that are doing insulin most of the time, and it's not good when they're squiggly like that.
I didn't squiggly, but I had it even before I tried the insulin. I have mine, and it's not a lot. There's just a couple of big ones. It starts like right around where the knee is, about 25%, quarter of the way up the thigh on the inner side. But it's only a couple of them, but they're really thick and squiggly. And I have some smaller ones on the same leg and the calf. But the one that's noticeable in pictures, depending on the angle, is the one on the thigh. But as I said, it's only a couple of veins.
So
you train your calves hard?
Yeah, but I don't train my calves too much. My calves, I've always had big calves, and they respond too easy. On my forearms, I never trained at all, because just my gripping, my forearms respond like crazy. I wish the rest of my body responded like my calves and my forearms.
Yeah, right.
So,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not so.
Same.
Yeah, but like for me, I've seen some pretty incredible things. When I've trained my clients for a long period of time, the progress and the results that they've made, and from natural. I mean, this guy's 70 years old, and if you've seen him, you wouldn't think he was 70. And everybody that sees him just goes like, oh, "Wow, that guy! What the heck?"
I'd say like 50s, mid 50s look.
Yeah, definitely for sure. It's just it's the fountain of youth if you do it right and you do it healthy. And because both me and Chris are friends with Robbie Robinson, and I'm friends with Aaron Baker, and I talk to all them, and Robbie used to say back in the day during the off season they never took steroids. They did it natural. 8 to 10 weeks before their event, they would do steroids, but it was more the cosmetic steroids like the Primabol and Depo, and Anavar, and Decadroblin, and
no cruising and bridging.
Yeah, so they would only stay on it, for a short period of time, and then they came off of it after the shows, and they trained naturally again, and that's why Robbie just, I think, turned 75 just recently here on the 20th, I think it was, or something like that. And, I mean, Bill Grant, look at Bill Grant. I mean, these guys should take notes off of these guys.
He's in his 70s also, Bill Grant, isn't he? Bill Grant is in his 70s also, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Bill Grant is in his 70s also, isn't he?
Bill Grant's 74, going on 75 also. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Listen, I want to start getting ready to do my cardio soon, so I want to start the closes. Hopefully, we're going to be able to get together every Saturday. But I want to go back to the diuretics. What I wanted to ask you is, why has it become protocol? It's like it just goes with the territory. It's just part of course for the prep. And they're doing it 2 weeks before. They're starting 2 weeks before competition.
Yeah, right. Kind of like bikini girls, taking steroids.
Yeah, it's
It's just that last panic thing, that a lot of people are taking, to think that they're gonna, be sharp and conditioned on stage because they took the diuretics, and it's the problem is it can rob you of muscle, not only water but muscle, and you better hope it's a potassium sparing diuretic, because it's just so unpredictable what it can do to your body,
well, yeah, just before, if you're in condition, you're not holding water under your skin. If you take diuretics and they're not needed,
yeah,
where's it taking the water from?
right. And the problem is a lot of these prep coaches, they've done that themselves, every prep they've done or whatever, so they think it's like golden, so they don't care. They do it with their people too, because they think that that's the end all, it's the be all thing.
So ultimately, that's affecting the physiques that we see on the stage.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely affecting. Just what I can see nowadays is, I see on social media, I see in the gyms, it's like no one's lifting with passion anymore. Everybody's just pumping weights. If you look at, we were just talking about him. What's his name? Not Hadi. If you look at Hadi when he lifts, he doesn't lift like Dorian used to. Those guys are just pumping.
Yeah.
Pumping. Dorian used to train to failure. I mean, you don't see that anymore. You don't see guys training hard. Matter of fact, Dave Palumbo, he just posted a video about training, and it was a great video he did on, how he talks about, you don't need to do that many sets. You need to put more into the sets that you do. And that's, my philosophy on training too. I used to train, I was coached by Mike Menser, in the 90s. I went up and trained with him twice at Gold's Venice there when I lived in California, and I was only 2 hours away. And then I got phone consultation from him after that, and I've worked with Aaron Baker and Lee Banks. And, I've worked with a lot of people, and I've came up with my own system, and it's not just what I learned from Mike Menser. It's not just what I learned from Lee Banks. It's a combination of what I think was the best things, and I put them together, and from trial and error too, also, and from also training my clients, and I have clients from 87 all the way to 20 years old, that I train.
You use the Bruce Lee approach, taking everything, absorb what's useful, and discard the rest.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, I see people, doing upright rows and just praising upright rows, but I don't do upright rows anymore because it's so bad for your shoulders. It's causes impingement. It's just a bad movement to do, and there's it's unnecessary. It's not like you could do a lateral raise and get just as much out of it and do some shrugs.
About it, movements behind the neck, because when you put the way I see it, you're doing movements behind your neck. You're putting your shoulder has a wide range of motion.
Right.
To move down in.
Right.
But when you get in that position, you come down behind the neck, it's out of that range, and you really it's not from what I understand, it's not moving on a natural lubricant.
Yeah,
and you're
I don't.
grinding
Yeah,
down
you're
the muscle,
grinding
the
it.
joint.
You're grinding it, and yeah, I don't do anything behind the neck anymore at all. A lot of my exercises I do are more directed around Doug Brignoli's Brig 20 exercises. Because those are the best exercises. As far as for the proper movement pattern for the body mechanics. And not destroying your tendons and getting the most out of it, stimulating the most growth. I'm thankful because I read Doug Brignoli's book also and kind of implemented. I don't do his exact thing that he says, because I would get bored to death doing just one exercise. I really, have been incorporating his exercises and I love them. And I feel great. I don't have any shoulder issues. I used to have some impingement problems when I used to do like military presses and, upright rows and, that once I've gotten away from those and just did all the right exercises that I think that are the best exercises that rate for me on a scale of 1 to 10, that exercise has to rate at least an 8 or I'm not going to do it.
Okay.
Right.
Like to give an example, leg extension is the best thing to do for your quadriceps. So I'm going to do it, so, you just have to, because there's a lot of exercises that you're just going to spin your wheels and you're going to probably screw yourself up in the long run.
You know what's funny? I got a friend I'm training right now, and he's like, "Man, it seems like our workouts are pretty similar. Like we always do this exercise, we always do that one." I'm like, "Well, it's the best one to do."
Mm-hmm.
Like the workouts will probably change by like 20 to 30% because that's the lower percentage of movements I can switch out and do something different with. For the most part, sometimes I do something crazy different, but
you find exercise work for you. You find what works for you might not necessarily work for me. Might work certain skull crushers might work great for you, and I don't feel it that much because of my structure, whatever. You find what works for you, and if it works for you, you use it. And I don't change up the exercises really at all. I change the way I do them. I might change the order in which I do them, the manner in which I do them, the tempo, or whatever. But if the exercise works,
the order alone, changing that will change your workout dramatically.
yeah, that's enough. That's enough variation. If you have exercise, you find the exercises that work for you. Because, like I said, a particular tricep exercise that works for me might work for you also, Chris, but it might not work for you, John. So
right.
you just
Right. The one thing is, skull crushers are great, but they're going to tear your elbows up over a long term, So, one thing I do now is I do the dumbbell tricep extensions on a steep decline in a hammer position. And it works awesome. And that's one of Doug's exercises that, he recommends also that is actually the best exercise you can do for your triceps. And you're working. What's that?
Would that basically be very similar to doing a tricep pushdown? Was it a position your body is in, and the way
it's the same? It's the same as a skull crusher, but you're using dumbbells, right? So now you're working independently.
But your elbows are going to be like if you're laying on a flat bench, you're doing skull crushers. Your elbows are going to be up, pointing up. But this way, are your elbows going to be closer to your body, lower down?
You want to keep your elbows, in close, so the triceps have to work harder. And then when you're on a steep decline, the laws of physics makes it even harder, and that's actually early load exercise. So you're not going to get the heaviest load at the extension. You're going to get the heaviest load in the very bottom beginning position, where that's actually your natural strength curve. And those are the exercises that you should be choosing when you do exercise, because those are the ones where you're going to get the most out of.
Listen, I want to try to get to my cardio tonight. I want
You know what?
to.
Yeah,
You don't
fuck
need to do
cardio,
cardio.
man.
You don't need to do cardio.
The topic: insulin, and diuretics. I think we all can agree that they're probably not needed, and besides being dangerous, potentially deadly, it can really dramatically hurt the physique. Are we all in agreement in that?
Oh,
Yeah, I'd say
absolutely.
so.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. We're all in agreement.
Jeff, are you going to be able to join us next? We get together on during the week, like on Wednesdays. Also, are you going to be
Yeah.
able to join us next Saturday?
Yeah, I can see, what I got going on, and I should be able to most of the time. It shouldn't be a problem. Weekends are better for me because during the week I'm just so busy training clients, and then I,
Okay.
do online coaching also. So I got to, do that also. So yeah, so during the week it's crazy.
The East Coast, so it's a 3 hour difference.
Yeah.
Me and Chris got on today around 5:30 my time, which is what
Okay.
was that 2:30 your time, Chris?
It was like around 3 o'clock my time.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
2:30 or 3 our time.
Yeah.
So is that time work out for you?
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah, it definitely does. Later in the day, because I usually on the weekend I try to sleep in, and then sometimes I got stuff to do. So later in the day is usually better about this time.
Same.
Hey, keep in mind when you talk to me, I'm old. Nothing offends me anymore. So you can say whatever. You can say whatever. I think I got you by a few years.
Oh, you
So
did?
you can say whatever you want to me. I'll be 59 in October.
Oh yeah,
I
you got me. Yeah, I'll be 51 June 19th.
Yeah, October 12th, the real Columbus Day. I'm so special. Back when I was a kid, we celebrated Columbus Day on the real Columbus Day. I was so special they closed schools for me for my birthday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so yeah. So back
Nice.
then we didn't move the holidays to Monday. So I felt like I was special, like the schools were closed for my birthday. Listen, it's been fun having you. It's nice to meet you, Joe.
Yes. Cool. And maybe next time, we can get a little bit more in depth with training and why people aren't, progressing like they should because of the way they are training, their poor training styles and their poor training programs and things like that.
We can talk about whatever you want to. If you want to talk about that great dump you took last week, we'll talk about that also. I don't care. Whatever you want to talk about, it's fine.
Sounds good. Now, can we go back and watch these podcasts again?
Excuse me?
Yeah. So Michael and I, we both record these. We're recording it right now.
Okay.
And we'll edit the videos. We'll have it up on both of our channels. So I'll make sure I'll tag you and make sure you have a copy. Whatever.
Okay.
You're on Skype. You can film us also. As
I can send you the downloaded, or actually you can after this, Jeff, you can click on the thing and download it. I'm pretty sure because both of us recorded it.
Okay.
So I think it'll be in your feed and you can click to download the whole thing.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, but you can actually record it also. You have if you hit, I don't know. I use a phone. I touch the bottom of my screen, 3 dots open up, and I click on the 3 dots, and I got a few options there. One the option is sharing, and the other option is recording.
Okay.
Jeff, I bet your son could help you figure it out because he's probably more tech savvy.
Listen, I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, he's good. He's the one that got me on this right now. Yeah.
All right, I'm closing this out. Once again, if you're watching this on Muscle Central, you make sure you get your ass over to Buffy the Iron Slayer and check out all of Chris's content. You got some great stuff over there. If you're watching this on Buffy the Iron Slayer, get over to Muscle Central, check out my content. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications for both channels. And Jeff, it's been nice meeting you.
Yeah, you too, Michael.
and I hope to have you again.
Having me.
I plan on titling me and Chris do Muscle Talk. I think I'm gonna title this Raging Muscle. I think the opening for it, Chris, so to look at it. You saw it, right? All right, so okay, everybody, it's been fun. It's ran a little longer than I expected to. I gotta get another cup of coffee, do some cardio, and Chris, I'll be in touch with you. We'll probably get together on Wednesday. Jeff,
All right.
I hope we can get together on next Saturday.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I'll be, texting and communicating with Chris too to figure that out too. Also, but I should be able to make it happen.
Okay, until then, everybody, see you later. Bye.
Okay, take care. All right, later, Chris.
Later, guys. See you, Jeff.
All right.